Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. It is the beginning of a new week. Welcome back in Talking Ball Live. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. October 30th. Oh, what a weekend. Another productive weekend of college football is in the books. You're good, the bad, the ugly from a weekend of college football. And we'll start looking ahead to what this weekend has in store for some college football along the way. Saturday, the Auburn Tigers at home against Mississippi State. They get a win 27-13. Peyton Thorne had his best game, I guess you could say. Would you say best game of the year by far?
Yeah, because it's an SEC game. Auburn hadn't won an SEC game, and it was Auburn's biggest win. You know, when you go back and look at their schedule, they beat Cal Berkeley, but, you know, Cal Berkeley almost beat sorry-ass USC, so Cal Berkeley's not all that good. And so, you know, and then they didn't beat A&M, they didn't beat Georgia, nor LSU or Ole Miss. So it's by far their best quality win. And to go 20-26 for over 200 yards and also be a factor with his legs and basically went the whole way. I think basically Hugh Freeze is going to start Ashford, and if he start Peyton Thorne. And what I was going to say, he was going to start Peyton Thorne in this game. I think Thorne had the better week of practice. If he played well, he was going to go the whole way pretty much, and they situationally would use Ashford in the red zone at times. But if Thorne struggled, and this had been a 7-3 game in the third quarter, then I think Ashford would have taken over and then would have had a chance to win the team. But Thorne, it was 14-3 before you could snap your fingers, and Thorne I think was 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
he came out and got into a rhythm early and basically took the bull by the horn, so to speak. And he's going to be the QB the rest of the year. That was the original plan. Auburn finally got some production from their wide receiver core.
Found 11 wide receivers on the day, did Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, and they threw the ball vertically down the field. They had like a 45-yarder to Javarius Johnson, the senior, from Hewitt-Trussville, made a play. So they were able to get the ball down the field and make plays. But it's also, like I said, you have to take advantage of this the portion of the schedule for Auburn, because they've got a 4-game stretch where they could go 4-0 easily. I mean, they go to Nashville to play Vanderbilt, who is horrendous, and got blown off the field by Ole Miss. Ole Miss was basically just experimenting, and to me just looked like they were going through the motions and still, beating the heck out of them. I mean, our buddy Chris Lee, who I respect immensely, basically tweeted it out like this. He said something to the effect of, I'll give you an idea of Vanderbilt's talent level compared to the other teams in the SEC. It's like if you had a 12-round draft, or an NFL draft. He said an NFL draft, and Vanderbilt didn't pick till the 12th round, and then they picked twice per round till the end. Is basically the way he put it, the disadvantage they've got right now. Right. So this will be I know the road games are tougher, but, Auburn, they've got 2 straight road games coming up at Vandy and at Arkansas, and we don't really know what to expect out of Arkansas. They were off this week, and they go to Florida.
New offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and the Gators gatored. They got off to a great start, put one drive together. It reminded me of the 2011 Alabama-Florida game. Oh, my God, they're going to win. They're going to – and then they're outscored, whatever it was, to nothing. Until they scored. They finally scratched a couple of meaningless touchdowns together. I guess it was at least 34 straight. I turned the channel. It was so disgustingly. It was at one point, I think it was 36-0 in a stretch without Brock Bowers, to show you why did anyone think that Florida had a chance in this game.
Well, we're going to get to that, yeah. But
because
somebody did, and that was answered after.
I'm sorry. South Kakalaki was up 10 on this team in the fourth quarter, and they had to come back and win 41-39. And South Carolina is a terrible football team.
What you're referring to is Dan Mullen, the former Florida head coach, goes on the SEC network and says that Florida is going to beat Georgia. And when the first edition of the college playoff rankings come out, he'd be surprised if Georgia was in the top 4.
Well, I'd be surprised if Dan Mullen had a job, and he doesn't have one because he's a horrendous recruiter who couldn't recruit his own wife now probably would end up divorced if he had to recruit her now, okay? Well, he's terrible.
Kirby Smart, I don't know if this was tongue-in-cheek. I don't know if he's
I don't
serious.
care. I'm glad he said it. I saw it. Go ahead and throw shade at the guy. The guy couldn't recruit his shadow.
Here is what he said after the game.
And I don't see it or hear it, but I know it's out there. Somebody text me before the game. It's like all these people predicting that we're not gonna, we're not gonna win today, and I'm just like, golly, where's that coming from? It's supposed to be my friend. He didn't like to recruit though, so it gets him.
Oh, Kirby Smart after Georgia handles Florida. I do want to get back to Hugh Freeze though, because here is Hugh Freeze after the game on Saturday. He was asked about playing Peyton Thorne the whole time at quarterback, which we alluded to. Here's what Hugh Freeze had to say.
Well, it's time, as I told him this week, it's time for us to put up or shut up and figure out, who can run the things we want to run. And I thought both showed signs this week in practice of improvement. And but he just started hot and felt good about our plan, and we had a little plan for Robbie too, and just never really got to it. But I thought Peyton played really well, and it's really good to see. I think he was 20 of 26 or something, so it's a pretty solid day, and thought he took care of the ball well. And we did some not so good things in the second half. Some of it was them. They really made an adjustment at halftime of how they were playing their gut cross and coming out of it instead of continuing to. They were reading out of it with their backers, and that made it hard to run the ball. And of course, you're trying to milk the clock a little bit when you're up 2 or 3 scores. But we get a critical first down and have a lineman downfield, which is we can't do that, and that's frustrating to see those things. But excited for Peyton to have a solid day.
All right, that was Hugh Freeze. Some of the good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend. Tennessee gets a win, a road win, which is what they desperately needed on the road at Kentucky, 33-27. Joe Milton, 17 of 20, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Tennessee stops its recent road skid after losing 4 of the previous 5 away games. They get it done.
Yeah, they do. I would just say the good was definitely Auburn's passing game and Peyton Thorne stepping up and basically winning the game, running the team. You'd have to say more of the good was Georgia proving that even without Brock Bowers, they're a machine. That they're gonna destroy teams like Florida. I would say the bad. There's just some teams in this league that aren't very good. I mean, I thought the bad was Florida. I mean, coming out, you look good. You go up 7-0. Eugene Wilson III gets in the end zone. You're throwing it, you're running it, and then they go for it on 4th down. It's a disaster, and then the whole game starts coming apart for Napier. I think Billy is a really good recruiter. I think he is recruiting well. I think one of the changes he needs to make in the offseason is to make a hire and do away with calling the plays and stop being the play caller. Just be a CEO kind of head coach, in my opinion, on this level. He could do it at Louisiana. This ain't Louisiana. All right, you're not going to get. He'll get next year. And maybe one more after that, maybe if they make a bowl game. But he's not gonna. He's gonna have to keep recruiting in the top 5, top 10 level he's doing now. But they're not. The Gators are not going to be patient, and so laying these turds in these big games the way they have, and basically getting blown off the field by anybody with a pulse. I mean, look, man, everybody talking about Utah, and Utah's a good football team. You know what Oregon did? Oregon laid waste. to Utah on the road.
Went in there and made that one look.
I mean, I know Dan Lanning made some questionable decisions against Washington.
Yeah.
But like I told somebody this weekend, did Kirby Smart lose to Vandy in his first year at home?
Yes.
That's a yes or no question. Except for the fourth quarter of the national championship game in 2021, has Nick Saban handed Kirby his ass?
Yes.
Exactly. So Kirby's had to grow, and he has. He has grown and he's improved. And he won another national championship last year. Went wire to wire, basically, 15-0. And he's made, and I think he grew from those experiences. I think Dan Lanning will too. I think Oregon is a very dangerous team. That was some of the good I saw over the weekend, no doubt about it. And then I guess I'd say, if you want to say ugly, and I guess it's just around college football, but especially in the SEC. Like I said,
South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt are a combined 2-14.
Yeah, they're just terrible football teams, man. I mean, I'll just say this. The SEC is still down. The SEC has improved as the season's gone on, but the bottom of the league this year is terrible. Okay, there are some bad football teams in this league. There's no question about it. Mississippi State, you saw the tweet coming out where basically they were telegraphing their plays, and Auburn figured it out. I mean, that's ugly. I mean, to me, Zach Arnett's a 2-and-done. I think he'll get next year.
Something about the plays, if it began with a certain letter, it was a run play.
Right. Yep.
Auburn figured this out. Mississippi State never changed it.
Yeah, and another part of the ugly, I'm sure Harbaugh already knew that, because I'm sure he had somebody in the stands that had already figured out their signals. And so Harbaugh, who's always been a prick, and sorry, Wolverine Dan, but he is, and who's always pushed the rules to the into the gray area, is now pissed off the wrong person, and everybody is basically turning on the guy. Now we'll see if he can survive it. Michigan just took his contract extension off the table, so there you go.
So that is the mixed report there.
Of course, they're going to try to spin it.
Adam Rittenberg has reported that they've just paused it.
Yeah,
and they're
just paused it.
Pending the NCAA investigation. They want to wait and see what the
It ain't no witch hunt, man. He did every bit of this. He's paying Division III coaches to go to games and steal signals because I guess he's not confident enough in his own coaching staff to outcoach somebody. Now it begs to the question, how did he beat Ohio State? But, of course, Coach Prime, he did say it, even if you know their signals, you still have to go out and execute it, so you do. But they did lose to Wofford in the playoffs last year, TCU, with, I think, a better team. So that to me, that's part of the ugly. The Michigan situation, and then the bottom of the SEC is horrendous.
All right, let's get out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough with us. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Jeff?
Well, I just want to say I don't think you didn't get enough defensive stops Saturday night to win. But I tell you what, there was a guy Sunday in the Tennessee Titans. He looked pretty good, didn't he, Drew?
Will
He's
Levis.
a good quarterback. You're anti.
Did pretty good. That's good.
It took
Did
him
pretty
one
good.
start.
Kentucky could have used him when they said they wasn't a
Well,
gag.
whatever. They could.
But I will say this to give you credit. Devin Leary played his best game. I mean, he played well. He finally played good.
He did.
He threw for well over 300 yards, but they couldn't run the ball because Tennessee made them one-dimensional.
And
they had a
Tennessee's
chance to
running
win.
it.
The game went about like I thought. They pushed Tennessee to the brink, but as usual, they lost to them.
They weren't going to let Davis run out of place. And Tennessee ain't got no secondary, so we done seen that Saturday night. They can't cover nobody. But Will Levis looked pretty good Sunday. The 4 touchdowns.
It's one game, yeah, he looked good.
Well, let me tell you something. What the guy in the NFL said, now to trade Tannehill and keep Levis. And let Levis go the rest of the year. That's what I do.
I'd let Levis go the rest of the year. Why not? It's not like they're a playoff contender.
Apple turnover. Tannehill turns it over. Apple turnover.
I would let him go the rest of the year, no question.
Take about 6 to win 1. It took Levis 1. Have a good day.
Well, I mean, I'm glad he won one
Well,
game, Jeff. Congratulations.
Jeff had to turn to
and
Will
he beat
Levis.
the sorry-ass Falcons, and I've been a follower of the Falcons. But the Falcons, I mean, I agree with Bill Shanks. Bill Shanks basically called Arthur Smith, the head football coach, a schmuck. And he basically is, because he tried to say that the only reason they took out Desmond Awful is because he had some kind of medical situation. Desmond Ridder is terrible. They should have not have had to win on a late field goal last week if he wasn't Cadillacing into the end zone and fumbling and throwing picks and everything else. The guy sucks. He is absolutely terrible. Chad Guapney would agree with me here. He is absolutely friggin' terrible. I mean, they need to be tanking trying to get a quarterback because they need one bad. Maybe Bo Nix. You know what I'm saying? Because
I tell you
their
what,
quarterbacks
Oregon,
are awful.
I tell you, they looked mighty impressive Saturday on the road at Utah. A very tough place, by the way, to go in and get a win.
Oh, it is.
And Oregon went in there,
and it wasn't even, it was a domination.
They were up 14. They were up 21-6 at the half.
Right.
And then scored 14 more in the third to a 35-6 win.
Big Farmer didn't have it this time, man. I'm just telling you. The Big Farmer got whacked.
Right, let's get one more in before the break. Strawberry's with us. Good morning, sir.
Hey, you said Tennessee couldn't cover anything Saturday. I'll tell you what they covered. They covered the spread is what they covered.
Yeah, I had them winning. That was Jeff that said that. I had them winning this game. I thought it was going to be like a 28-23, 27-23. It went about like I thought.
Tennessee can't help but try and choke out a game. I'm a Tennessee fan.
I thought Dylan Sampson was awesome in the fourth quarter, though. I thought he was the difference.
There's a lot of Tennessee fans can say stuff that they haven't been able to say in 15 years, right? Like, this team might win 9 games and look better next year. In the past, that would have been Bush Jones' best season, right?
Yeah.
So, there is promise in the future.
There is.
Simpson's young. White's still young.
Yeah.
Got a good quarterback coming down the pipe. And going to have probably a pretty good season.
Got to get Brew McCoy back, though, man, because I think he's got a COVID year. They got to get Brew McCoy back. You know?
Yeah, it would be nice to see Brew just get back on the field, period.
Yeah.
That guy was a fan favorite. If your name becomes a chant,
yeah,
then you're a fan favorite.
Well,
so.
I will say this, Strawberry. They're going to win next week. This week, they're going to drill UConn. It's going to come down to this 2-game stretch here. With what kind of year they end up having. You got Mizzou on the road. That ain't going to be easy. Mizzou's been much better than anybody ever thought because that looked like a dub. Looked like a guaranteed dub for the start of the season. And then you got Georgia in Neyland Stadium. And the one thing that Tennessee can still hang their hat on, I said it this weekend, is if Heupel hadn't lost a game in Neyland Stadium. Okay, because if they beat Missouri on the road, that's going to set up a huge game at the end of the season with Georgia, and then they're going to whack Vanderbilt with their second-string quarterback if they feel like it. So, this season is still going to live up to expectations if they can at least get a split out of Georgia and Missouri. But this is where it's going to be kind of the amen corner down there. Because I'm just telling you, if they beat Mizzou, then that's going to set up a very interesting road game for Georgia because Georgia has not looked as good on the road. They were lucky to escape against Auburn.
Yeah, I think ESPN wants them to beat Mizzou because that hypes the Georgia game.
Yeah,
not necessarily, in my opinion. I don't think there's any chance against Georgia in the second half. My mind could change. Obviously, I'll be rooting against Georgia, but I think that's what ESPN would like to see happen. So they can talk about, a real big game because going on the road to Missouri, even if we lose, that's not a big game. It just didn't. If everybody's sitting on rocks in the end zone, it's not a real SEC game. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Even if we lose, that's not a real SEC game. That looks like the side of the dam over in Guntersville. So I'm not gonna, get too hyped about that one way or the other. Missouri's got a great team. They have just as good a chance as anybody has beaten Tennessee. We lost to Florida, for goodness sake, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I still don't know what happened there, man.
All right, sorry. Thanks for the phone call, bud.
Yeah,
thanks for that phone call.
That's another one of those voodoo things for whatever Tennessee can't seem to win in the swamp, which is kind of the same thing right now with Heupel holding being undefeated at Neyland. Right now they've got that they can hold on to. I still would favor Georgia in the game, of course, but I'm really interested to see, because Missouri pushed Georgia to the brink last year, how Missouri, who's better this year, goes on the road and plays against Georgia and Athens. Do I think they're going to win? No. I don't think they're coming into Athens and winning this game. But I want to see how they look in this game. So that's going to be a really interesting doubleheader Saturday on CBS when you're talking Missouri at Georgia and then LSU at Alabama.
All right, let's get that first break in. When we come back, phone lines are back open to you, 256-576-4977, to continue to go over some of the good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend. Oh, the Pac-12 is definitely ugly in a way.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looking pretty good this morning. Had a couple of no-injury wrecks. Huntsville Browns Ferry and Malone, and Highway 20 eastbound at Red Hat. Both of those should be nearing completion. Everything else looking good. You be careful on your ride in. You get 2 pieces of hand-breaded, juicy, tender signature chicken at a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. Popeyes University and Jordan, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with 2 $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com to order. And don't forget frozen custard for dessert. Cheeseburger Bobby's, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive, Huntsville, and at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The throw and catch to the Ocho will stand. Desmond rolling to the end zone, dives for the score.
Download the app and listen to Atlanta Falcons football right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Robinson caught it off his hip, and he scores. Unbelievable.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Some more good, the bad, the ugly from over a weekend of college football. And you got to go
another
to
ugly vote, bro.
You got to go to the Pac-12.
It's basketball season, too.
I know, but you got to go to Pac-12. And the start of the USC-Cal game, I saw this on Saturday.
I saw this.
So the start of the USC and Cal game was delayed because 15 individuals, 14 of the 15 were actually Cal students. A couple of them were not.
Where did they come from?
I don't know. But they all stormed the field, sat on midfield, and protested the suspension of a professor that was suspended for stalking and harassing a professor from another school.
So he's a whack job, and 15 other whack jobs decide they're going to protest for him. That's why we are in the toilet, man. Oh, the one that got suspended is a her?
Yeah.
Well, okay. See, that's why we're in the toilet in this country, because she's harassing somebody, and 15 morons decide to sit out and delay a football game because of that. Because they probably all voted for the piece of trash in the White House who doesn't even know what day it is.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. That's how it started out there at Cal.
Bunch of tree-hugging idiots, man. They deserve to lose to Caleb Williams. And
nearly pulled it off,
SC.
though.
50-49 because they went for two and, of course, flunked. I guess they realized, wow, USC's a lot worse defensively than the Auburn Tigers. There you go.
Because they scored.
They got a pulse.
Oh, boy.
Give me a break.
And then you have to bring up North Carolina.
Oh,
boy.
Horrendous.
What started out as North Carolina, everybody thought was going to be up there in the college football playoff rankings. But, man,
last 2 weeks, they lose to Virginia, who lost to James Madison, who's having a great year, but it's still losing to James Madison.
They are literally like that guy, like the guy on The Price is Right, the little the dude that goes up the.
Oh no! I know what you're talking
cliffhanger.
about. You're talking about the cliffhanger.
They
You're
have
talking
fallen
about
off the
yodeling.
cliff.
He's yodeling and yodeling off the cliff.
They are off the cliff.
Because Virginia, we saw them play Tennessee earlier. They are terrible. They are a terrible football team. And Georgia Tech. Now they're not terrible. Okay, they're scrappy, and they've already beaten the Cristobal's. When Cristobal, as we call that now, as we know, Miami choked, but still Georgia Tech won. And then Georgia Tech wins this game, I believe, 46-42.
You know what's crazy about Georgia Tech this year?
What?
The two teams, Miami and North Carolina, when they beat them, they both were ranked number 17.
There you go.
And
I guess that's some good. You got to give Georgia Tech some good.
And Georgia Tech has scored 254 points this season. Georgia Tech has allowed 254 points this season. Georgia Tech has scored 33 touchdowns on the year. Georgia Tech has allowed 33 touchdowns on the year.
Now we've got a tweet into the show. I got to read this tweet. This is about the tree huggers here. From Bama Bulldog Sales.
Yeah.
He goes, Drew D 977 ESPN. I think they were protesting because they think the Dr. Seuss book Green Eggs and Ham is offensive to chickens and pigs. Their lives matter. Pretty good tweet there.
Protesting green eggs and ham.
There we go.
Because their lives matter too.
Yeah, their lives matter too.
Oh.
You know, you can go ahead and sexually harass people, though. It's a free country. Idiots.
We got Jason with us. I don't know about that one.
That's basically what these morons are saying.
Good morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hope y'all are having a good Monday.
We are, Jason. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Oh, since Alabama is off this week, I got the treat of watching Penn State and Indiana.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God. Pilot, how did they even think Penn State was going to beat Ohio State?
They won't.
They are bad.
Penn State lost Ohio State. Penn State will lose to Michigan. Penn State is not good. I watched that game. They are not a good football team. They're completely overrated. I mean,
And then
ugh.
The later game, Washington and Stanford, I thought, well, Washington's supposed to be good. They was lucky not to lose.
Oh, their defense is not very good. I'll just say this. They got the one time with the home crowd and everything. It's like when Tennessee beat Alabama last year. If Tennessee had played Alabama 10 times, they'd have lost 9. They beat them once. The same thing with Washington beating Oregon. They would not beat Oregon again, and I don't think they will if they play again. Oregon will beat the hell out of them. I just really think Oregon's getting better, and Washington's a good football team, but I don't think they're elite, especially defensively.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of scares me with this committee voting. I don't know who's on the committee.
Hopefully none of those Cal morons.
Yeah, that's a little over 24 hours. We'll get a little more than 24 hours. We'll get the first edition of the college football playoff rankings. They are set to come out tomorrow night.
And I can't wait to hear Heather Dinich's riveting
I've got her top 4 already.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
She's already put out her top 4.
Right.
So I will go over those in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how Washington can even be in the top 12 after watching that. They would get killed by Alabama right now.
Well,
Alabama would beat them 14 points.
Well, I mean, I like Penix. I think he's a good player, but
Who?
It's Penix. But I mean, you know, but he hasn't played as well in the last couple of weeks. But
yeah,
I just don't. I'm not sold on Washington as a complete football team. I'm not sold on Florida State yet, even though they did lay waste to Wake Forest. I think they're good, but I also think the ACC, the bottom of that league, is not good. Let me look at Duke. Duke got, just pounded 23-0 by Louisville. I just think there's not a great team this year in college football, in my opinion.
Well, Heather Dinich likes Florida State. She has them at number 2.
Of course she does.
And then you throw Ohio State in there. But after watching Penn State, the Ohio State victory don't mean that much. Penn State is not that good of a team.
Well, and don't forget, I mean, Ohio State should have lost to Notre Dame as well. But and again, I understand Heather Dinich in a way because Florida State does have a win over LSU, who's playing much better now, and who I know they got 2 losses, but they got the Heisman, the leader right now in a clubhouse, and Jaden Daniels, and they got an impressive win by 3 scores. Now, all that said, LSU's top 2 backs didn't play in the game. And so basically what I'm telling you right now, if it were me, my top 4 would be Georgia, then Michigan, even though I still don't know how good they are. They haven't been tested, but they've been impressive. They've handled all their business, and they're handling all this junk off the field.
Yeah.
And then I would probably have to vote, I guess it would have to be Ohio State, because they do have the road win over Notre Dame. They have beaten Penn State, even though I'm not sold on them. And then I'd have to say very, very, I don't really think there's a great 4 right now. I guess it would have to be Washington because they beat Oregon.
Right.
And then Oregon, and then Florida State would probably be my top 6.
All right, Jason, thanks for the call, but we are up against a break, though. We got to get it in here. When we come back, we will get to Wolverine Dan. We'll get to Brandon. Plus, Heather Dinich has her top 4 out. Who is in that top 4?
And let me flip it. I'd say Florida State and then Oregon. But I really think Oregon might be better than them. But they did lose a game. You have to put that in there. Florida State's in the top 5 because they're undefeated.
All right, we'll go over those top 4. We'll let you know what Heather Dinich says. We got a lot of stuff to get to. All that and more when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday night, expect a few scattered showers. Otherwise, we'll continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperature is going to be noticeably colder. We'll bottom out in the upper 30s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, mostly sunshine. High temperatures only topping out in the mid and upper 50s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 20 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got Hemsey going to Jordan and Sparkman. I'm not sure if that's a wreck there or not. Just be careful through that area. Couple that they're trying to clear, 20 eastbound at Red Hat in Decatur, and Huntsville, Browns Ferry, and Malone. Those were both reported as no injury. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Huntsville area is one of the fastest growing areas in the United States, and with growth comes challenges. That's where the professionals at Gillette Land Development come in. If you need dirt, gravel, and sand, Gillette Land Development can provide all your hauling needs. Site preparation, Gillette Land Development can handle it. Custom home building, you guessed it, Gillette Land Development. Call Gillette Land Development today, 256-957-2111, 256-957-2111. That's Gillette Land Development, 256-957-2111.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Chris Brockman here from The Rich Eisen Show. And do you want even more excitement on game day? Yeah, you do. It's time to get on Prize Picks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Here's how it works. You pick 2 to 6 players. You choose more or less on their stats. If you get them right, you can win up to 25 times your cash. It's quick and it's easy to make your picks with fast and safe deposits and withdrawals. Prize Picks is the place to play. Prize Picks has awesome weekly promotions, and they're the only daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, keeping you in the game even if one of your players goes down. Watch your entry update in real time and continue the fun by making picks on the second half and fourth quarter stats. And right now, when you go to prizepicks.com/primetime, use code PRIMETIME for a 100% deposit match. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for more details.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flo tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, but little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flo, think fun for everyone.
Hi, this is Eli Gold of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide football is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Monday morning, everyone. There we go. 7:39 on a Monday. Let's go out to the phone lines. Wolverine Dan with us first. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Dan.
Well, good morning, Drew. Wow. You got on top of that pulpit and just let it all hang out about those.
It's not being made up, man. There's too much coming out.
Whoa, I like it. Just, that you're bringing it strong. That's what people need to hear.
I mean, they still got to have a chance to have a great football team, but I mean, there's too many. It's coming out from too many different areas, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just new stuff coming out all the time.
You had the one NCAA investigation, which I get it was kind of silly and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But still, it brought the NCAA to the campus.
Though.
Yes. And now you have this one, which just keeps getting more and more and more depth. There's more and more layers to it, and it doesn't look good everywhere you turn.
Well, I mean, that's I was referring to the tree huggers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's beyond, I mean, like Scott said last week, it was some other Israel thing or something, man.
Yeah, that's back-to-back week, big protest there on campus.
No shock.
The thing that gets me right now about that, and I'll real quickly just say something and move on to the war we really want to talk about is sports, is that, Drew, you're very educated when it comes to football and everything about college football. And, that shows that you could say something because you could back it up by your research. Young people these days don't understand what's going on, and they just fly off the deep end. And anytime they get a chance, they can, protest. I'm against that. So let's move on to sports. Now, your top four, isn't Georgia in your top four?
Yeah, they're number one. Michigan's number two.
Okay. Well, this is good for us in a way. Getting this investigation and whatnot. It's really motivating the players and everything. So no matter what happens this year, guys, if we end up by getting lucky enough to win this thing, it's, to me, we won the championship. It is what it is. And even though the investigation might go wrong, I hope it don't. I think the NCAA is just kind of mad because of the fact that Jim was doing the cheeseburger deal thing, and it fell true for them, and now they're so mad at him. They're going to.
I would agree with that. I think he made somebody angry, and now somebody's like leaking stuff.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But in my closing here also, over the weekend, I keep track of my division rivals.
Right.
And it looks good for us, and I'm speaking of the Lions.
It looks great now. No Kirk Cousins.
Well, I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
The things up with Rodgers, because you could see the way the leg kind of popped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what
right.
Did. And that holds well for us. But, I don't wish any injury any player, but it's not going to hurt us. And I like our chances tonight with a 3-4 Raiders team.
Oh, yeah. Josh McDaniels, man, he may not make it through the season at this point. Once again, he's a flop.
Yeah. Campbell's a heck of a coach. It was a really motivational thing he had an interview with, talking about his players when we weren't in competitive at all as far as any kind of winning a division or whatever a year or two ago. And he said, I love those guys that fought. And, they knew where they weren't going to go anywhere, but they still fought. And he said, that's the kind of player I want. And, he's that type of coach. And these guys, they all make lots of money.
Right.
They don't have to go anywhere they want to go, but they love playing for this coach because the coach, guys, look at the guy could put on a uniform, probably play right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Anyway, all right, fellas.
All right, thanks, Dan. All right, let's get to Brandon real fast. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
Morning. Are you going to read Green Eggs and Ham?
No, but I'm still trying to figure out who threw that cake.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Scott would enjoy that.
Inside joke there.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Somebody did ask, though, if Scott ate green eggs and ham in Iowa.
No. I did eat a lot of ribs and chicken wings on Saturday.
There you go. Oh, the man.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, ribs and chicken wings.
Oh.
Speaking of, I walked into Kroger Saturday, and my wife worked there despite being a school teacher. She worked there part-time on and off for 17 years.
Wow.
I walk in the door, and the first thing you see is big old huge boxes of fudge-covered Ritz crackers.
Ritz crackers. Yeah, I bought some last year.
Covered?
I got some last year. They're pretty good, man. Okay. I got one box because I can't have more than one box and eat them a few at a time. But I'm just telling you, they're pretty good.
Okay.
Got white chocolate and fudge, I think.
I'll have to check those out.
They ain't bad.
Okay.
Well, the store manager there, I'd made a crack about a week ago, so he just takes all that stuff and just piles it up right when you come in the entrance. And he's standing there watching them, and people are just, they're coming in and they stop and their kids are grabbing stuff. And I said, how's it going? He's like, we're having to fill it up every day. He's like, they can't even get, he said, everybody comes through the door buys at least one box. He said, it's great. He said, we won't have anything left by Thanksgiving. He's like, but we're filling it up every day. So
wow.
I kind of stood there and watched it, and it's just like shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, Scott, we got tweeted at something. We got Paul Crew tweeting at us last night.
Yeah,
they got Christmas tree cakes.
Yep, I saw that.
And they got gingerbread cookies this year. I haven't ever had the gingerbread cookies.
I saw someone make Christmas tree dip. They take those Christmas tree things and they add like whipped cream and you add a couple other things to it, and it becomes a dip.
I'd be dipping into the hospital. You know what I'm saying?
There's a girl on YouTube that's putting Christmas tree cake ice cream on top of a Christmas tree cake and eating it, and people were the comments were out of this world. I'm telling you,
that's a little too much right there. That's a lot of sugar.
Oh boy!
All right, Brent.
What makes football great?
Yeah.
15-yard penalties because the Colorado State fans are throwing.
Oh
yes.
That's part of the. I got to get to that. Yes, Brandon. Thank you for that one.
That's more the ugly.
That's more okay. So thanks, Brandon, for the phone call. Before we get to the break, though, Brandon brings it up, and I want to see. Okay, I get the spinning wheel of death. I do have it. I had that in the.
But I will say, Scott brought up more of the good, though. He brought up more of the good, and this is not what we saw on the football field, but it was ribs and chicken wings over at the Wing Fest at Huntsville High at Milton Frank Stadium. That was part of the good of the weekend.
Oh man, let me
we
tell you. Well, the ribs were part of the secret thing. They were not. Yeah, we discovered those. Thank you to Hoss Johnson and Joe Demos. And Brian Bellamy for hooking us up with that.
All the folks out there that were cooking, great wings out there.
This is what Brandon was referring to. Remind me or let me know if you've ever heard this at a football game before.
For the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the Colorado State bench. Will the audience please refrain from throwing snowballs? It will continue to cost Colorado State.
Now, important to note, there was a warning in the first half. We were handed a note at the end of the half that there was a warning on the Colorado State fans not to throw snowballs on the Air Force bench. And you can see Jay Norvell is not happy. So
I mean, come on. Just watch the game. What are you throwing snowballs at people for just because you suck? Come on. Give me a break.
We got to get a break in. Oh, throwing snowballs. It's going to cost you 15 yards every time.
We'll get you when we come back, Rich.
Yeah, we got to get a break in. Richard, we'll get to you on the flip side.
Richard.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They're reporting the wreck at 20 and Red Hat is clear now. At Huntsville, Browns Ferry and Malone trying to clear, and I still don't know for sure about Jordan and Sparkman. Himsey dispatched to that intersection, but HPD does not have it as an accident. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Did you know the state's top-ranked private school is here in Huntsville? What about one of the nation's few Orton-Gillingham Academy accredited schools? At Randolph School, our experienced teachers and coaches challenge and nurture students as they prepare for college and life. Our pre-K through 12 school includes Greengate School at Randolph, serving students with dyslexia. Parents, we know that you are your child's biggest advocate, and we invite you to explore your education options. Schedule a tour at randolphschool.net.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. What time is it? 7:52 on a Monday morning. Our good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend of everything going on. College football, some NFL talk in there. 256-576-4977. Richard is with us. Good morning, Richard.
What's up?
Morning, guys. Hey, talking about snowballs, I lived in Chicago, and my old roommate from Alabama was a sports writer for Syracuse, and Notre Dame played Syracuse. Well, both teams were bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
both.
in the Charlie Weiss era, and it had snowed a little bit in South Bend
on
Friday night. So they were actually the Notre Dame students were bombing the Notre Dame team in Weiss before the game.
Lord,
so,
they were throwing it at their own team?
Their own team. Well, Notre Dame was bad. I mean, what's weird is it was so cold. My son and I left, and it was cold, in late fourth quarter, and somehow Syracuse came back and won.
Oh,
out. But it was two terrible teams. But they were bombing Charlie. That may have been Charlie's last year there.
Yeah, I can see that because, I mean, they signed him to that huge contract. They had a good team at these, when he first got there, he was arrogant as heck. You thought they were, going to win a national championship. And they had Jeff Samardzija. They had all those guys, but Brady Quinn, but then they fell on their face.
One thing, you were talking about TCU or Wofford, as you called them earlier, but I read an article last week that 3 Big Ten coaches told TCU about the sign stealing.
Oh,
so They basically baited. They said they actually ran some of the same plays, so Michigan, would steal the signs. Would basically think they had it figured out the whole game.
Oh.
But then they would on a big play. But if what was the final score? 52-45.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
so,
Wofford.
Yeah. So I mean, but they basically did just enough. But they said most of the Big Ten knew they were doing it.
Oh, I would imagine so.
Yeah, it wasn't. That was the thing. I mean, they several of the schools now have come forward and said, "Hey, look, we suspected this all along."
Yeah, And so, but like I said, TCU was smart enough not to, kind of blow it. And so they, like I said, so they let them think they knew the plays here and there, and and basically, used it to win the game. Out, and you give up 52 points in a playoff game against two fairly evenly matched teams. You could see it work.
Yeah.
So, one thing is that it wasn't sign stealing, but it was kind of like what you were talking about Mississippi State. And I don't know if I read this or was told, but I think that it was '89, the first Alabama-Auburn game at Auburn, the Curry era, I believe.
It was '89, yes.
But basically, Homer Smith, his audible plays, not the plays, and Auburn didn't have the plays, but if you could make him audibleize, a boy was and a girl was the opposite. And so, so they didn't know the play, but could at least know. They could know if it was a run or a pass.
Yeah.
Out in that game, like I said, they didn't know the play, but they knew the, if it, if they went up to audibleize, Hollingsworth went to audibleize. If it was a boy's name, they at least knew it was a run or a pass.
Gotcha. Kind of like what Mississippi State was doing.
Yeah, kind of like what State did, where you could kind of, narrow it down, in there. But you didn't know the play though. You just knew it was one or the other.
Right.
Which helps some. Kind of like what Dion was saying. You still have to stop it, but and I'm sure that's probably you probably have teams figure that out. Kind of all the time. But like I said, they didn't know the play. Out. So.
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's what Mississippi State was. That was the whole thing. Auburn was saying that Mississippi State was using the same name or the same letter for everything.
Right.
Didn't change it up. All right, Richard, thanks for the phone
Thank you.
call. Let's try to get one more in. Do we got time?
What's
let's
up,
go.
Jeremy?
Hey, guys. I screwed up this weekend. I had a TV about a month ago that I thought tore up, so I bought a new TV. Well, then I plugged the TV straight into the wall instead of the extension cord, and now I have two TVs that work perfect. And but the good thing about it is I watched a lot of college football on those two TVs this weekend. And I watched what I thought, and I hate to say this, but if Oregon wins out, Bo Nix is your front runner for the Heisman Trophy.
I'm telling you, man, he's playing, he's balling out. He looks like the Bo Nix I saw in high school, which is an elite quarterback. It's amazing what happens when you have some talent around you and some competent coaching. But I just really think Bo's balling out, man.
And it's a shame Auburn's first SEC win this season came this late in the year, and it might be their only SEC win for the year. It's just according to how they've got Arkansas left on the schedule, that who knows who's going to show up for that ball game.
Well, they got Vanderbilt this weekend, so I think they should beat Vanderbilt.
No doubt, yeah. No question.
But let me tell you, Ole Miss looked really good, and I think they are like a season or two away from they've just got a couple of missing pieces. They just got a couple of things that they need to find to complete that team and complete what Lane Kiffin's wanting to do. And it seems like that's his thing throughout his coaching career until he went to Alabama and won a national championship with them. But it just seems like there's always something missing with Lane Kiffin.
Agreed. All right, thanks, Jeremy.
It's medication. That's what's missing.
Bo Nix, by the way, 2,337 yards, 21 touchdowns, 1 INT.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
Game 3 of the World Series is tonight. The Diamondbacks and Rangers squaring off in Arlington. The series tied at a game apiece. The Diamondbacks rallied for a big 9-1 win in Game 2 after losing 6-5 in 11 innings in Game 1. Brandon Pfaadt, the scheduled starter for the Diamondbacks, while Max Scherzer gets the nod for the Rangers. Texas -109, the Diamondbacks -104. The over-under's 9. Arizona +150 to win the series. Texas -170. Corey Seager of the Rangers is the series MVP, favorite +500. Adolis Garcia from Texas +550.
Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Hour 2, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. Alabama, they were off on Saturday. LSU was off on Saturday. Now the two will collide this weekend. LSU will enter as the nation's top-ranked offense when it comes to Bryant-Denny Stadium. The latest top 5 in yards per game. LSU comes in averaging 552.9 yards of offense per game. Oregon, by the way, we just talked about Bo Nix and how if they continue to win, he should be at the front of the Heisman race. Oregon is second nationally, averaging 531.9 yards of offense per game. But LSU will come in. Jaden Daniels comes in. If not Bo Nix, it's Jaden Daniels. Could be 1 and 2 in the Heisman. I say could, but no doubt about it, LSU is bringing in another high-powered offense.
A very elite, maybe the best in the country.
Alabama is going to counter with perhaps the nation's best defense in the country.
Well, they got one of the best defenses. I think the best defense in the SEC, probably Georgia's second right now. But certainly this is going to be their biggest challenge. I think an even bigger challenge in many ways than the Texas Longhorns, because I think Jaden Daniels is maybe the best player in America, and he's the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some Alabama basketball as well with our next guest. Since 2003, the senior analyst for BamaOnline.com. Also, he does a great job with the SEC Second Helping podcast with Brent Beard each week, talking Tide with Chase Goodbread, and bringing you premium content, great content for the brand new BamaOnline.com YouTube channel, and that is Travis Ryer. Travis, hope you had a great weekend. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Hope you had a nice little step away for part of the week. I know you just recharge the batteries and get ready for this this stretch for Alabama football. But you've been around this program and covering it for 20-plus years, a long time. Since Nick Saban came to Tuscaloosa in 2007, this game has kind of defined the Southeastern Conference. And in the last year of divisional play, no surprise, once again, it's probably the biggest game of the year in the Southeastern Conference.
I think it is.
Regular season-wise.
Yeah, Georgia can't really help the situation in the East. And the cross-division games don't really match up as much for Georgia to be in that situation. So the one game you can count on, it seems like year in and year out, not just in terms of the SEC West, but the SEC as a conference, and in a lot of years, the college football playoff is Alabama LSU.
It really is.
Well, and LSU comes in. The last time LSU came in with this high-potent offense, Joe Burrow was the quarterback. Now they come in. Jaden Daniels is the quarterback. Different head coach, different situation. But nonetheless, LSU comes in with another high-powered offensive attack.
They absolutely do. You talk about that explosive playability, and you look at even just conference play for LSU offensively, 44 plays of 20 yards or more in 5 league games. So that's right around 9 plays a game of 20 yards or more. And there's not really another team close. I think Georgia and Alabama are next with 28 apiece in 5 conference games. So that kind of puts into perspective the explosiveness of this offense with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. and really, Logan Diggs coming on at the running back position to be that guy. We're going to talk so much about Daniels and this passing game this week, but Alabama can't allow for a two-way sort of situation to unfold Saturday night. Got to make sure you take care of Diggs and the running backs because you're going to have to withstand a lot of what Daniels brings to the table. And just a really good team on third down because of that versatility, whether it's Daniels extending plays, whether it's his ability to deliver from the pocket to those wide receivers. And then you also have a tight end you have to account for in Mason Taylor. So, I know we've talked about this in previous matchups for Alabama. Ole Miss comes to mind, Tennessee most recently. But it seems like every week for this Alabama defense, which has been outstanding, the challenges ramp up.
Well, and Travis, I think the difference, Jaden Daniels is better than Jackson Dart. And the biggest key for me, though, is I think the outside, the receivers and the tight end and everything, is the skill guys outside are much better than the ones Ole Miss has. No disrespect to Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I think this year for sure. Ole Miss has had a run here of some really good players on the outside. Ole Miss had some injuries coming into that game as well at some of those spots. It doesn't look like that's going to be as much of an issue for LSU, at least offensively. Now, defensively, LSU's got some major issues on that side of the ball. So, I think it's going to be on the Alabama offense, too, to try to help out that defense, to be able to be balanced and maintain possession and, put together some 6-7 minute drives if possible, get that run game going. Especially if Mekhi Wingo is going to be out, one of LSU's top defensive linemen, and also to keep guys like Harold Perkins honest. If you think you're just going to drop back and throw it 35, 40 times, and it's tempting because LSU's essentially, it sounds like, out of cornerbacks going into this game. I think you have to be careful, though. I think this is a game Alabama will score in the 30s. But I think you got to be careful not to be tempted to try to get it into the 40s because if you do, that's probably the kind of game LSU wants.
Yeah, I mean, as good as LSU is offensively, they are opposite defensively. I mean, I think they're 73rd in the country in scoring defense. They give up over 26 points a contest. Yeah, so everything is good as offense. Defensively is where LSU is lacking.
It is, again, in large part because of either injuries or doghouse issues with a couple of secondary guys. So, Alabama should have success. I know there's been this narrative that, well, LSU's making progress on the defensive side. I mean, that was Auburn and Army. You're talking about two offenses that I think Auburn, even after Mississippi State's 99th nationally in total offense, and Army's in the 100s. So I'm going to need to see it against a little bit more. And that's not to say that this Alabama offense has been a juggernaut. But, from that perspective, the question is also, can Alabama sustain that performance, that run game and passing game sort of mix that we saw over the final two quarters against Tennessee?
Well, and Travis, I said on Twitter that I thought a big part of this game is kind of what you just mentioned. I think Alabama, first of all, they've got to win the plus-minus. They lost it against Tennessee. I think they've got to find a way to create a couple of turnovers and steal possessions. And then I think time of possession is going to be very critical because if Jaden Daniels isn't on the field, they can't score. And I remember also, I got some confidence as well, Kevin Steele in his plan against Joe Burrow with Auburn. And I think that Auburn defense was really good, but I think this Alabama defense may be even better than that group. They were able to slow LSU down.
Yeah, I mean, this is an LSU run defense that is, I think, 12th in the SEC. And when you look at just league games, a little bit better at 10th in conference play, but still giving up 160 yards per game, right around 5 yards per carry for opposing offenses. So the opportunity should be there for Alabama to not have to lean or be as dependent on explosive plays. Although if you do establish that run early, and you kind of force LSU into committing more to slowing down the run, you're going to have even more opportunities, I think, in the vertical passing game.
No question, Travis. And I think Alabama, with the issues in the secondary for LSU, especially if they can run the ball, I think balance is key. I thought that Tommy Rees called a really good game the last three quarters against Tennessee. Now they've got to stack that and build it. But balance is going to be the key. I figure they've got to hit 150 to 175 rushing, and then Milroe has been very efficient throwing the deep ball. They're going to have to hit a couple of those in this game.
Yeah, and again, I think the opportunities will be there, especially with a sort of decimated LSU secondary. I think as much as anything, protection, right, is going to be key. But if you run the ball effectively, that should help from that standpoint. So, yeah, I think for Alabama, when you look at the challenge that LSU presents, it's not just as simplistic as saying, well, the defense has got to match up with Jaden Daniels in this passing game and then Logan Diggs in the ground game and, those things. It takes sort of a holistic approach, and that includes your kicking game as well because, a guy like James Burnett, when you do have to punt it, can certainly help put LSU on that long field. And again, that goes back to making this LSU offense earn it. And they love to end explosive plays in the paint. They're effective. Their numbers are good in terms of touchdown conversion rate too in the red zone. But you got to make LSU earn it in the red zone this week and beat you that way, more so than just these explosive plays and the kind of breakdowns that we saw from Alabama. Frankly, defensively, especially in the second half, getting out of pass rush lanes, busting assignments on backs and tight ends. And when you get a chance to finish the game this time around, you got to be better than Alabama was defensively a year ago.
Yeah, and you look at it, Jaden Daniels comes in, just electrifying, but in yards per attempt, Jalen Milroe is number 2 in the league. And so when Alabama does throw the ball and they are completing it, at least down the field.
They are. You're right. Jaden at 11.5 per game, and actually, the number doesn't change much for him in conference play. Similar for Jalen Milroe. Jalen's actually a tick higher in yards per attempt in conference play than he is in non-conference action. So it's very impressive what both these teams are able to do when it comes to the passing game. And for Alabama, it's been a little bit of a mixed group. As far as who it's been, it seems like every week, Isaiah Bond a couple of times. It's been Jermaine Burton. We saw Kobe Prentice with a big one a couple of weeks ago. So Alabama has more than one guy that Jalen feels comfortable going to, and there's going to be some explosive plays. There's going to be some chunk plays. I think for Alabama, what will be interesting is can it have sort of an even mix between the run and the passing game? A faster start, I guess, is a better way to say it.
Gotta have a faster start, yeah.
Than what they've had. It's great to have that second half against Tennessee, but it's tough when you wait a couple quarters to kind of get it going. That doesn't seem sustainable over the long haul, but it's been good enough to this point.
And then Alabama, you mentioned protection, especially, with the injuries on that LSU defense, and you just kind of talked about Mekhi Wingo, but they're going to have to find Harold Perkins as well. I would imagine he'll be moved around.
Yeah, I would think so. And if you're LSU, I would think you obviously want to get him on Caden Proctor in certain situations as best as you can. Caden it's been up and down to probably put it mildly, but I thought we saw Alabama do some different things last time out against Tennessee. Try to chip, with the tight ends, maybe the backs a little bit more to that side, provide some assistance to Caden on occasion, because I think on the other side you're going to be fine, especially if Wing goes out this week with J.C. Latham doing his thing. So absolutely, accountability for Perkins will be very important. And then, how you hang in with Mason Smith and some of those interior guys. Jane Roberts has been really good since stepping in there at right guard. So I think Alabama's actually feeling pretty good about its front at this point. Obviously, again, it's Proctor that you have your concerns about.
And I know you mentioned making them earn it, but red zone defense too. If you force 2 to 3 field goals, those got to be considered wins, right?
They do. I think that's going to be the aim, obviously, for both of these defenses. And it's a good thing when you see Will Reichard having the kind of season he's having at 15 for 15 on field goals. But there's also part of it that I'm sure Nick Saban doesn't like Will Reichard attempting even that many field goals through 8 games. But it's nice to know you've got him in your back pocket. Ramos is a good kicker for LSU. But absolutely, if you're either of these defenses, you want to see these guys kicking more field goals than extra points.
And now I wanted to switch gears as we're winding it down. We're talking to Travis Reier, BamaOnline.com, part of On3 Sports. Alabama basketball now has 2 exhibitions in. They open a week from today against Morehead State at home in Coleman Coliseum. They don't get a W. They lose 85-81 to TCU. Then yesterday, 88-80, a rough second half against Wake Forest. Didn't have Mark Sears in either game. Your thoughts on what we saw from Alabama basketball?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it, but just from the
hear, I guess.
Yeah,
right.
We were able to hear and kind of keep up with throughout the afternoon. I'm encouraged by the 2 games. I know they were 2 losses, but
right.
I like that Nate, even in exhibition play, puts his team against strong opposition. Even though this is a team that's transitioning in a lot of ways when you talk about personnel. So Aaron Estrada, the 2 exhibition games, I'm encouraged. I kind of met the expectations I had for him. Turnovers yesterday were problematic. Maybe Sears being involved could help you more with that. But we know Alabama, with the way it plays, regardless, is going to turn the ball over at a pretty good clip. But, yeah, I think that it'll be interesting to see how this lineup sort of changes when Sears is available, right? Because of yesterday's lineup, to start anyway, it kind of was a 3-forward approach with a couple of guards. And we'll see how that is affected maybe when Mark's available. But I think it's going to be a fun team. I do think that. I think the way they're going to play is always going to be entertaining. But I think there are some individuals on this team that are going to be a lot of fun to watch, like Estrada, like Grant Nelson. Sam Walters is a freshman shooting the 3 at a high clip so far is very encouraging. So, and with his length. So again, I think it's going to be a very fun team. Will it be a championship team? It's going to take some time to figure out.
Yeah, I would no question. Great stuff from Travis Reier. Travis, let everybody know how to connect with you guys. It's going to be a big week on Bama Online.
Thanks, Drew. Yep, we're at BamaOnline.com. You can catch us right there. Our roundtable, our premium message board is a great place to post up with us. And we have our new YouTube channel for BamaOnline.com. Tons of video content starting today throughout the week as we get you ready for Alabama LSU Saturday night at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, phone lines back open to you, 256-576-4977. You're good, the bad, the ugly from a busy weekend of college football.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like we're all clear right now on the accident scene. We're dealing with a heavy traffic load, and it looks like we've got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning, so you be careful as you make the last of that trip in. End of the year's coming up. If you need temp help for admin or accounting help for special projects, Snelling can help. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is driven by you, driven by those with grit, determination, and a goal to succeed. This is why we do what we do. The Huntsville Sports Commission promotes an enhanced quality of life in the Huntsville area through sports. We work hard to make sure those who come to Huntsville to compete have all they need to be the best they can be. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit northalabamamortgage.com for more information.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back in on a Monday, 256-576-4977. Good chance to be a part of the show now if you want to get in. We've been talking a lot about college football. Hey, did you see Kentucky Sports Radio? Or not see, I guess you wouldn't be able to see it. Did you hear Tennessee, Kentucky? We talked a little bit about it in hour number one. And here's some of the reaction from Kentucky Sports Radio on Saturday, losing to the Vols again.
Now we're stuck here. Mark Stoops is 2-9 against this team. And to walk around this place before the game, I was disgusted. The smugness of those guys just walking around like, we're going to walk in here, we're going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. And it made me sick. And you know what? They did it. They still did it. What the hell? Can we just beat this team? I know that Mark Stoops has done a lot of good things. This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah, blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee. Please, can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid orange colors, and their stupid song, and their woo, woo, get their woo on out of here.
Man, he took that hard, man. Woo! I mean, but look at it. I mean, Stoops has beaten them a couple of times. Like you said, he's 2-9, but still, when you look at this history of this series,
yeah,
that's why I was telling Jeff I took Tennessee this week. They just routinely don't come through. I mean, and think about it. They lost for 36 in a row to Florida at one time, but they've at least turned that one around, and Stoops has won that consistently. But to be honest with you, they have even when, and these are some Tennessee teams. Think about him being 2-9, and I still think Stoops has done a really good job. Don't get me wrong, Scott. But as we know, Tennessee has not been the strongest program until the last couple of years under Josh Heupel. So this is some mediocre Tennessee teams that he still hasn't been able to beat. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's like voodoo or something. But Kentucky just cannot beat Tennessee. I don't know what it is. No matter who the coach is, whether it's the champion of life, Butch Jones, whether it's it hasn't mattered. Tennessee's had several mediocre coaches, no question about it. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't know why they can't get over that, because Stoops has started to recruit really, really well, but for whatever reason, when they play the Tennessee Vols, they play some of their worst football, and that's why Tennessee's always so confident playing against them, whether it's in Neyland or in Lexington, because most of the time Kentucky just does not play well. I mean, at all. I mean, Derek Dooley, he was very mediocre. They couldn't beat him. I mean, you think about it. I mean, Tennessee has just not been good for a while, for over a decade, since the end of for 15 years since the end of the Philip Fulmer era after 2008. And they've had some very mediocre coaches, and yet still have controlled this series against Kentucky.
Speaking of not playing well and some of the ugly from around the college football world, what is going on with Clemson and Dabo Swinney?
Well, to me, it's all caught up to Dabo because he will not use the portal to supplement his team. He has outdated recruiting policies where if you commit, he won't let you visit another school. He also, and this is kind of what happened to Coach Bobby Bowden, you start losing assistant coaches eventually. Like Mark Richt was with him for over 15 years or something. Then he goes to Georgia for a great run. And then the OC, his son Jeff Bowden took over, and it wasn't as good. They had to bring in Dirtneck, Jimbo, who ended up taking his place. But and then of course eventually, Mickey Andrews retires. You eventually lose coaches, man. You lose Chuck Amato, who was a great assistant coach. He went to NC State to be a head coach, and it's just harder to replace these guys. Nick Saban's had to do it every year, but he's lost some guys. Venables, Todd Bates, a lot of guys that were part of it.
They're 2-4 in ACC play.
And to give him credit, I said they were 4-3 earlier. I guess they've already got 4 losses. I've lost track.
They're 4-4 on the year, 2-4.
They may not even go to a bowl, honestly, if you look at their schedule. But
they still have to play South Carolina.
Well, South Carolina beat them last year.
South Carolina can't get out of their own way right now.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say they can't beat Clemson. I mean, they're just – and then he hired Garrett Riley. Everybody was excited about that. But I think what we're seeing is, the Klubnik has still got a ways to go at the quarterback spot. Shipley's been banged up. They're running back. And again, they're not as good. I'll give him credit for promoting from within with these coaches a lot of times, especially on defense, but it hasn't worked. I mean, I don't think it's been as good. So, do I think Dabo should be fired? No, but I mean, he won 2 national championships, and this is the first time in 12 years he's not going to win 10 games. But again, it's just one of those things where everything's caught up to him. I think
talk of him taking over for Nick Saban has cooled off dramatically, hadn't it?
Hell no, and it wouldn't have happened anyway. It's all about timing. He's built what he's built there, but he is not coming to Alabama. Forget it. Unless he wants to visit.
Jake Crane's going to be with us. That we know for sure. He'll be with us after we take this quick time out. Jake Crane will talk some college football, get his thoughts on Michigan, the SEC, and how about Oklahoma losing to Kansas this weekend? We'll fill you in on that with Jake Crane next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday night, expect a few scattered showers. Otherwise, we'll continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperature is going to be noticeably colder. We'll bottom out in the upper 30s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, mostly sunshine. High temperatures only topping out in the mid and upper 50s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 20 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We picked up a wreck in Athens. This one's on Highway 99 near 31. That one may have a minor injury involved. Everything else from earlier is clear. We got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning. You be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If your home needs updating or you have some projects that you just haven't gotten to, Eagle can help. They install shower doors, mirrors, shelving, blinds, bath hardware, and lots more. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're getting a chuckle out of Steve Smith Sr. and saying
Dave
that
Dorn.
North Carolina State's a basketball school, and Dave Dorn calling him out after NC
Which was beautiful,
State
by the
win.
way, because Steve Smith, he was a great player, and he played with a chip on his shoulder, but he is full of it. He runs his freaking mouth all the time.
Twice, did Dave Dorn. He called him out on the air, and then in his post-game used an expletive to call him out as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny, so that's what we were laughing at there. But I'm sure our next guest probably heard all of that and analyzed a lot of things. From
I mean, they're on from 6:30 to 8 each Monday through Friday. Brought to you by the Real Daily Wire, Crane and Company, one of the best shows in the United States. One of the co-hosts joins us weekly on Mondays. That's Jake Crane, coming off of a great weekend of college football and the NFL. I'm sure they had a lot to discuss this morning, and he's going to join us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Dave Dorn will speak to you, correct, Jake? He doesn't think you're full of bleep, right?
No, yeah, Dave Dorn will speak to me. We're on speaking terms. I will say though, man, it seems like every week Steve Smith Jr. is getting into it with somebody. I mean, him and Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Kind of before the NFL game a couple weeks ago, really getting into it. That one felt super personal. But I don't blame Dave Dorn, man. I got to go out and recruit. I can't have you out here saying that we're a basketball school. That's North Carolina, man.
Yeah, basketball season can't get there soon enough for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, well, I mean, now that of course that's off the table for Drake May to be a Heisman candidate, but certainly it's not for Jaden Daniels. This Alabama LSU game and the Georgia Mizzou. What a doubleheader that's going to be this weekend, Jake.
Well, every weekend of college football is fantastic, but there's every weekend's not built the same. When you look at this matchup, I mean, this is why we watch college football, right? I mean, you hope your team, during the whole off season, you hope your team has a chance to play in that must-win game, because this is a must-win game, I think, for both teams. I know that Alabama obviously isn't out of the hunt in the SEC West if they lose this game, but getting to that 2-loss mark, especially if you may have to go up against a Texas to see if you get into the playoff, depending on what happens in the Big 12. Obviously, for LSU, they already have 2 losses. You can't lose another one and have any chance at all. But, it's always so interesting. We always say styles make fights, right? And that kind of makes the matchup.
Right.
Well, you have strength versus strength on the field. You have LSU, who I think is the best offense in the country, versus Alabama, who we know the best part of their team and their top 10 nationally is defensively. But sometimes when you go strength on strength, it's actually weakness versus weakness that decides the game. So is LSU finally going to be able to somewhat stop somebody, or is Alabama going to be able to put 4 consistent quarters together on offense? Either way, man, it should be a heck of a matchup. I can't wait for it.
And Missouri and Georgia. Missouri has to be one of the best surprises in the league this year, but is Missouri at a level where they can actually go to Athens
and play with them for 4
play
quarters?
With Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take a heroic performance by not only Brady Cook, but Luther Burton Jr., obviously Schrader, who's been beat up. It's going to be an all hands on deck. My question isn't, can Missouri find a way to put some points on the board? It's, can they stop Georgia? I mean, this defense for Missouri has been decent against the run, but awful against the pass. Georgia gets Demarius Mims back on the offensive line. They're the number 1 third down team in the country because they live in 3rd and 2. They're very balanced offensively. Carson Beck has a ton of time to throw. And there's 2 things that should scare the college football world to death that we saw with Georgia this weekend. 1, Ladd McConkey looked healthy.
Yes.
And he can be that security blanket while Brock Bowers is out. And Brock will be back. Whether it's for the SEC championship or whether it's for the college football playoff, Brock Bowers will be back. And the second thing is, I think you really saw once again the maturity from this Georgia team on display. You're playing a Florida team that's got nothing to lose. They get the ball. They drive right down the field. They put it in the end zone. There was no panic. There was no, oh, no, we have to change what we're doing. All they did was kept doing what they were supposed to do, and they blew them out of the water. This Georgia team is developing while winning. They're mature, and they're able to replace integral pieces with integral pieces. I'm just telling you, man, it's looking more and more like Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah, it really. But I've got to ask you about another team, though. We talked about them today. I know they lost to Washington, but I think they would beat them in a rematch. I thought the most significant result I saw this weekend was what Oregon did to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you watch Crane and Company, we felt like this would be a good bounce-back game for Oregon just because, USC's defense is so bad, it can even make a Bryson Barnes-led Utah offense look competent, and Utah's kind of had USC's number. But you saw Oregon really kind of flex its muscle. I think Oregon is one of the most balanced teams in the country. Should have won the game against Washington. I know if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But I agree with you, Drew. I do think we're going to have a rematch in the Pac-12 championship game between Oregon and Washington, and I do think Oregon is going to win. It's just going to come down to, is Dan Lanning just going to take the most drastic option every time? You know what I don't understand? I don't understand how on one hand you can be Dan Lanning and just go for every 4th down, never kick it, make the most drastic option, and then go talk about gun control after the game. Like, you're the last person that needs to be talking about playing it safe.
Oh, Lord.
Did Oklahoma's loss to Kansas, did that take the Big 12 out of everything, or is the rest of the college football world going to cannibalize itself to where the Big 12 might get someone into the playoffs?
Man, it really narrowed the path, didn't it, guys? I mean, if you look now, either Texas or Oklahoma is going to have to win out, including the Big 12 championship game. So this wasn't going to be a case of, oh, well, Oklahoma's undefeated going into the Big 12 championship game, playing against Texas, who has that one loss to Oklahoma. Whoever wins is in the playoff. I mean, there's still going to be some problems when you get down to it. And, guys, I'm looking at this schedule for Oklahoma and Texas. It's not a walk through the tulips for either one of these teams. I mean, Oklahoma's got to go to Oklahoma State, who's found the fountain of youth, who has totally flipped the script, and the fountain of youth turns out it's Ollie Gordon. They've totally flipped the script on their season. I think Oklahoma will bounce back, though. But you look at Texas, Malik Murphy handled business against BYU, looked better in the pocket than I think any of us thought. But this Kansas State team is as hot as anybody in the Big 12 right now, and they're playing their style of ball. Howard looks to be a little bit healthy. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I tell you, Oklahoma and Texas better watch out this weekend.
Well, and Jake, one of the other reasons I love your analysis is you've been on both sides. You have become a stalwart in the media, but you also coached on the college level. You're a really good player. I was getting questions about this, and I want to ask you because you talked to a lot of people throughout college football. He got a signature win, a huge one at home in Jayhawk land this weekend. How good is Lance Leipold in your mind?
He's a top 10 coach in the country to me. I mean, I say this all the time on the show. If somebody shows you who they are enough, you need to start believing them. I think between Leipold's career at Wisconsin Whitewater all the way to what he did at Buffalo, just look at Buffalo now after he left, and now what he's doing at Kansas. The man is a master builder. And, he may not be in the young demographic of a Lincoln Riley or a Lane Kiffin, but the man's got a ton of juice. He's got a ton of spark. And if he's at a place, not that Kansas is a big brand. We know it's a bigger brand for basketball. That's obvious. But if you put this guy at Texas A&M, he could be a legitimate problem because he's out here winning games with one of his hands tied behind his back. I think as far as motivationally, I think as far as culturally, as far as an identity, Lance Leipold's about as good as there is out there. And between him and some of these other coaches at basketball schools like Mike Elko at Duke, I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to hold on when some of these big dogs come knocking.
Hey, the Auburn Tigers offensively look good on Saturday.
Hey.
Peyton Thorne just let it fly.
He did.
Man. Boy, Mississippi State, they'll get you right real quick, right? I was watching that game. Mississippi State, outside of Arkansas, Mississippi State's everybody's get-right game. But, no, look, it was a matter of time. I thought Peyton Thorne came out and was aggressive. He looked loose. He just let it fly from the first drive on.
Right.
Auburn was balanced. It's amazing how much even better that run game looks when you've got the pass game operating. I mean, guys were making plays on the outside. I mean, I had to pinch myself 2 or 3 times during the game to make sure that I wasn't dreaming. But Auburn needed that one. It's a big confidence boost. It kind of gives you a little bit of a look through the mirror or look through the window of what Auburn was trying to be, and may give them some momentum down the stretch. Trying to get to that 7-win, possibly 8-win mark, depending on what happens at Arkansas, and then you obviously have Alabama at home. But you can't get a big head. I know it's Vanderbilt, but still you're going on the road. You got to be able to try and replicate that performance, but it was a complete victory by Hugh Freeze and Auburn, and it was good to see.
Well, and now Ole Miss, they can't look ahead because they've got Georgia in 2 weeks, but then they got A&M at home. A&M won against South Carolina. It was a little bit of a clunky performance. But this has been a game in the past maybe where Lane would lay a clunker. They didn't finish strong last year. What are your thoughts on Ole Miss and A&M?
Well, I'm right there with you. Is this the one? Lane always has one or two. Like, is this the one where it's all lining up for Ole Miss? They just have to take care of business. Now, I'll say this. The roster that Ole Miss has is not leaps and bounds better than the one Texas A&M has.
Right.
But, boy, does Texas A&M make things look difficult. Nothing is easy for A&M, it just seems like. And even that South Carolina game, they were the better team. I mean, South Carolina is so beat up. They were deficient to start with on the offensive line and the defensive line and the front seven in general. But, man, they don't make it look easy. But I will say, the pressure is a lot. Not that there's not pressure on A&M. I mean, they're 5-3 with what they're paying Jimbo. There's pressure every game. But there's a lot more pressure on Ole Miss in this game. And I just feel like it's one of those where A&M is due to play pretty well as a complete team. And Ole Miss, they always have those one or two clunkers that you mentioned, Drew. Can Jackson Dart and them overcome it? Because this A&M team in that front seven on defense, they can stop that run and make Ole Miss one-dimensional. And if Jackson Dart kind of reverts back to 2022 Jackson Dart that throws interceptions to every intermediate defender that's inside the stadium, it could get weird late.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Jake, right now, but just watch it. Handicapping the Heisman race. Most have Jaden Daniels in front. I think if they beat Alabama and they go on to win the SEC, he's going to win the award. I think he should go to New York even if they don't, beat Alabama if he plays well. I just think he's been that good. Is he the front runner right now? And I think Bo Nix should be in the top 3 too. Who are your top guys right now?
Look, I think Jaden Daniels right now is playing the best. I think he's playing the best out of anybody in the country at the quarterback position. I think LSU has the best offense in the country.
Right.
And their versatility allows him to do what he does. Right now, though, I do think Penix is leading.
Okay.
I think Penix is leading. And against USC's defense this coming up weekend, he'll probably throw for 900 yards. I think the over in that game 76. I'd take it if it was 96 with the way those two teams operate. But I think until Washington loses one, and Michael Penix continues to just play well, he'll be the leader. But Jaden Daniels is right there, and you have to have Heisman opportunities to have Heisman moments, and there is not a bigger Heisman opportunity than to take your team into T-Town against Nick Saban and try and go put up a crooked number and win it. You want to go in, and if there's any chance for him to surpass Michael Penix this weekend, it's got to happen against Bama because all eyes are going to be in T-Town.
They certainly are, no question about it. Well, it's going to be a big weekend of college football, no doubt. Like we said, the slate in the SEC is outstanding with the under the radar game with A&M and Ole Miss, and then like we said, the doubleheader with Alabama, LSU, and then before that, you're going to see the Georgia Bulldogs and the Missouri Tigers. Before you go, Jake, who do you ultimately like in the Alabama LSU game and then Georgia Missouri?
Well, right now I've just gone back and forth. I've got to sit down and stare out at my window outside for at least 30 minutes before I make a decision. I just need to see nature and how it's reacting outside. It's hard not to go with Alabama at home just because LSU has been so bad defensively. And I know they held Auburn to 18 points, but let's be honest, Auburn isn't winning any postseason awards offensively. Army is so unbelievably beat up. I still don't believe in this LSU defense. You look at Alabama, can they put 4 quarters together?
Right.
I mean, Alabama's been so wildly inconsistent, and they've still won. That's a high-class problem. I have to lean Alabama being able to hit enough big plays and hold LSU to field goals in the red zone,
good
not
point.
touchdowns. Early, I'm leaning Alabama. But I'm not, like I said, I just need to look outside and be one with Mother Earth for a little bit.
Yeah,
there you go.
And then Georgia, you still got to like them in Athens, right? I mean, I do. I even though I think Mizzou's a really good team.
Well, here's what's going to happen. You want to know what's going to happen? Kirby is the master manipulator, but he's not going to need any of it because this college football playoff ranking will come out. Ohio State will be number 1, and then he'll find a way to make every Georgia player believe they're going to be lucky to make a decent bowl, and they'll win by 30.
There you go.
There you go. Great stuff.
You know what it's like? It's like Shallow Hal. That's what Georgia's like. It's like Shallow Hal. Like you look in the mirror and it's this 800-pound monster, but really you're like Gwyneth Paltrow walking around outside. They just got him convinced.
Yeah,
there you go.
Great stuff. Well, let everybody know how to connect with you guys at Crane & Company. It's going to be a big week.
Yeah, I might as well hop in now if you aren't. I don't know what you're doing out there. It's go to YouTube. It's the easiest way to find us. Crain & Company, CRAIN and Company. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. If you listen to it, we go live in the morning, 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. We have live calls and a live chat. If you can't catch us live, it stays on the whole time. But guys, it's week 10 already, man. I need it to slow down.
Going by too fast. Yeah, exactly, man. Well, have a great week, brother. Thank you.
Hey, y'all too. Be good.
Let's get our final break in when we come back here. Tomorrow's headlines today.
Here's the interesting.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had a wreck at Governor's in Gallatin. Not much to it. It should be clearing. And we got one working in Limestone County near Athens, 99 right about 31. That one may have a minor injury involved. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Work injuries happen in Alabama all the time, whether it's an accident at work, getting injured, lifting heavy objects, hurting your hands on a machine, or just performing the same movement over and over until your body breaks down. But when it happens, there's only one law firm to call in Alabama. That's Pond, Lehocky, Giordano. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming.
This is Flavor Flav, who sang the national anthem before the Bucks game over the weekend.
Through
He's a little off.
For the ramparts we
Just gotta fast forward to the one.
or the land of the free and the home
There you go.
of the brave.
Hey, you know how they always have that bet in the Super Bowl where you time the national anthem?
Yeah.
Ain't no way in hell you could have timed that one. You'd have to take the over big time. I mean, how long did that last?
Oh,
Where did he
shoot.
sing it?
I'm going to say that thing lasted probably 2 minutes and 40-some seconds.
A lot of times it's under 2 minutes in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that thing was well over 2 minutes.
Lord.
That one was –
So where did he sing it at?
it was an NBA game.
Of course it was.
Hey, today is what we call a sports equinox, by the way. Never as bad as first. Yeah. Roseanne Barr, Carl Lewis, two of the
Where
worst.
she spit on the ground.
Two of the worst ever.
Oh, Carl's was the worst.
Carl's was the worst. Hey, it's the only day in 2023 where all four major sports are going to play today: NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL. It's only happened 29 times this has ever happened. It's the sports equinox. All four are going to be playing. Iowa and Northwestern. I told you this during the break. They have set the record for the lowest over-under in the modern era history. The Iowa Northwestern over-under this weekend is 29.5. The last time these two teams played, Iowa won 17-12.
Well, I'm going to tell you this Big Ten Saturday night on NBC is a bunch of clunkers because they're putting Michigan and Purdue on. What the hell for? I mean, it's going to be a beatdown. If this is a basketball game, it'd be a lot more interesting.
Oh.
I mean, I'm watching the end of it. It was Wisconsin and in Ohio State, and at least it was competitive. It was 24-10. They're like, yeah, our game next week is Purdue and Michigan. I'm like, a 30-point spread? What the hell are you putting them on for? Are you trying to find the sign stealer?
Hey, I was going to ask you this, though, and it's a good question. Would you rather have James Franklin or Jimbo Fisher as your head coach?
I'll abstain.
Because neither one of them win big games.
Both of them suck.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing